Hey everyone, my name's Addy, and today I've got another LEGO Ninjago magazine for review. This one's issue 33 of a special edition line and comes with one of the tins and obviously the magazine itself. It's got the comic, the 2 minifigures and the tin like always, and I think I'm going to open it up now because I haven't seen this one before. So I'll show you everything about it right now. So here it is, and I think like always it's got pretty much the standard look for a special edition magazine. It's got the bright kind of colours on top to signify its difference. So onto the first page, it's got one of the advertisements for the current sets, I believe. Maybe not in stores at department stores, but probably on lego.com, as this one's been out for a while. And then magazines can also be a bit delayed here in Australia, so this one probably could have been out when this set was on the market for longer. Not too sure about that one. The next page is a contents page. It's got the 2 minifigures highlighted, and they've got both their custom weapons like in the magazines, and they unfortunately don't come with them armor pieces by the looks of it. But yeah, there's not too much else to say about that one as well. So they've got obviously the instructions how to build the minifigures and weapons, and I believe a couple puzzles on this one. So I think this one's yeah, this one's like a set spotlight for one of the sets on the market, and I believe this one's a LEGO Store exclusive, City of Temples. I like this one, and it's got some of the stats up here, the name, the minifigures, and obviously the set. There's also some like steps if you want to do kind of an activity over here. So the next page has a bit of a recap on the previous season and another activity over here, both featured around the Master of a Mountain season. And here's the start of the comic issue featured in this magazine. And here is the third and fourth page of a comic featured in this magazine. I think it's pretty cool, this one, because it gives a bit of a chance for us to see a bit of a lowly, or as they call themselves, Starply, more recently, as we haven't seen them, I believe, since Crystallize, specifically in the show. But yeah, not too bad if I'm being honest as well. And I believe the 5th and 6th page as well. And as I say on the bottom here, continue on page 22. And this one's only page 15. So they've got another puzzle on this one, and I believe the first part of one of the posters in this issue. And inside we've got the full poster, or at least the back of that poster, because it's double-sided. And yeah, this one looks kind of sick if I'm being honest. And the second, probably bottom half of the poster. And I think also the second part of the puzzle featured on the other page. And I believe the comic is continued on this page. So yeah, part 2. They've got another page here and on the following one as well, featuring a bit of a month, the Upley, the ninja, and a bit of a foes. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's always cool to have these Legacy Edition magazines so you can see returning locations, villains, maybe enemies or side characters. Yeah, I think that's what's cool about them, honestly. Then they've obviously got the massive cleanup of their property damage that they've caused in this battle, which probably can add up to a fair bit over the course of their many adventures. And I believe they would have more puzzles on the next couple of pages as well. So yeah, I think these are always pretty fun, especially if you're a kid, and it gives you a lot to do, like with these ones. I think it's always pretty good value, just for, it depends if you're going to do activities as well. They've got a colouring in, which is always pretty cool. I definitely would have loved this one. I like the magazines to collect them really. But obviously if you're going to use the magazine to actually do the activities, it's so much better value. But yeah, I think it's nearing the end, but there's a couple more puzzles on this side. I believe this one's featuring the suits from Hands of Time and the island. I think that's a maze, and those were always pretty fun. I do remember completing a few of those on my older magazines because they were my favourite activity to do. And yeah, this one's, I think, the next featured Legacy magazine. If I'm being honest, I think this one's really cool because I believe the Temple Guard was only available in the large $399.99 City of Temples on Lego.com. So that's going to be really cool. I might get a few of those just so I can have a couple more temple cards, because they don't obviously come with their armor piece, but regardless, I think that's a really cool character to have in a feature magazine. I've got a couple door hangers because I'm not gonna lie, I haven't always done activities or like to damage my magazines by cutting things out, but those ones and the little, I think, kind of matching card games, I always cut those out on the last page because I thought they were really fun. I believe my old ones were destroyed, but honestly, I really like these ones. But yeah, they've got two more on this side because they're double-sided. If I'm being honest, I do miss the art featured on the last or second last page, but I guess that's just something they're still doing. But yeah, I think this one's pretty good. I think I prefer this much more than the legacy old packaging or the paper foil packs in the normal editions. They just, well, the top just slides off like that, and I think, I don't know, pretty cool. And you can use these for whatever you want after, if you don't use them to keep these minifigures anymore. This is the first minifigure featured in this tin. I believe he comes originally from, maybe not originally, but he was definitely in the Dragon Shrine set with Kai Nia and Master Wu and Master Lloyd. So yeah, this one's, I don't know, it's pretty cool. He doesn't have his armor piece, but he's got, I think, the mace or the mallet, the gong shattering, which is pretty cool. And like always, he's pretty detailed, I think, in all his minifigures, but I love, yeah, his torso and leg design. But I've got him already, so there's not really too much else for me to say about him. This minifigure has been out for like a year. I actually don't have Mech Pilot Cole. I didn't collect any of those mech sets because I didn't love just the mechs for, like, obviously the price. But I do really like the minifigures. I'm not too sure if I love the, like, orange on top as such a prominent color because it just feels maybe a bit out of place, but I think the armor definitely would have broken that up. But I think, yeah, regardless, he's a really cool minifigure, and I love always the brick built weapons in these magazines. But yeah, just a pretty generic one if I'm being honest, but yeah, very detailed one at that. And look, after going through it, I think it's a pretty decent magazine. I think it's not really anything above average. It's just like any other one. It's got some cool comics and posters, but nothing that makes me want to get this more than others. I think the minifigures are pretty cool, but they've been out for a while, especially in Australia, so I'm not sure if I'd want them. I think they're pretty decent for me, actually, because not too many of those sets are available anymore in my local department stores. But I don't know, I didn't realize this about the last Legacy Edition magazine, but they've gone up from like $12.99 to $15.99, which is like just $3 more, and this is $16, basically 16 Australian dollars, and I'm not sure if I see the value in the legacy ones anymore, if I'm being honest, because I think I started buying them when they were like $11.99, $12.99, then I don't know, $15.99 just seems like too much, like unless they come with double like the minifigures or something more, or like the trading cards, I just don't think I'm gonna see the value in these anymore, really, which is kind of sad. I think the normal magazine editions are $12 or $13.99 right now, which is like okay, because most of the time they're coming with double the minifigures because they've got obviously the spare ones from old editions that we use, which is always pretty good because they add more value. So yeah, I just checked, and issue 31, like this one, was $15.99, but issue 29 was only $11.99 in Australia. So I'm not sure how much it is everywhere else, but I think in Australia, the special edition magazines aren't exactly the best value anymore, unless you're after the minifigures or something inside, which is kind of painful to say. But that's all I really have to say today, so I'll see you in my next week's video on Monday. See you then.